好, for my final cultural project, I decided to do some research on the topic of Chinese traditional folk dance, or in other words, 民族舞, which means a folk or ethnic dance. When talking about Chinese traditional folk dance, the term 民族舞 is used. As I introduce this topic, I wanted to start off first by sharing why I decided to choose Chinese traditional folk dance to present and research about. My backstory is, I have taken dance since I was 3 years old, and it has been roughly 18 years since then. I started off with ballet, tap, and Chinese traditional. Dance has been naturally a huge part of my life. For many years, I would continue down the path of learning different styles of Chinese traditional dances and going to many places to compete and perform, including for CCTV's New Year's Gala, or in other words, 春节联欢晚会. This New Year's Gala refers to a huge production of a broadcast show across China filled with comedy skits and a variety of performances, including an abundance of Chinese traditional dancing, all to celebrate Chinese New Year. Now to go over the basic history of Chinese traditional dance. Traditional Chinese dance has a history of thousands of years, where ancient artifacts have shown that Chinese dance was deeply embedded in at least 5,000 years of Chinese history. Each dynasty had its own imperial court dances, which varied greatly in style. As a result, other forms of Chinese dance were passed down and evolved over the years. More on this later. Surprisingly, Chinese dance and martial arts are actually related. The same technique used for combat in martial arts is often used for performance in Chinese dance. Let me elaborate. These are the characters for the word 武术, which is martial arts in Chinese. And these are the characters for the word 舞蹈, which is a dance in Chinese. The Chinese word for martial is 武, as in 武术. The Chinese word for dance is also 武, as in 舞蹈. This further hints at their shared bloodline. What's more is that many gymnastic moves comes from Chinese dance, as many of the tricks acrobats do actually originate from classical Chinese dance. It was only a few decades ago when many gravity-defying flips appeared in gymnastics. However, in Chinese dance, it has a history of practice for thousands of years. Now to go into the different types of Chinese traditional dance. China has 56 ethnic minorities, each of which has a culture of unique folk dances. Distinguished by their choreography, music, and costumes, each ethnic group's folk dances reflect the peculiarities of that group's religious, cultural, and historical narrative. Many of the traditional folk dances share common themes, such as rivalry, jealousy, and love, as well as the imitation of nature, elements, and animals while conveying certain messages or purposes. Just to name a few, some of the Chinese traditional genres include the dragon, lion, long sleeves, ribbon, peacock, fan, sword, and a plethora of other dances. The dragon dance, or wulong, is a well-known Chinese dance, and it's believed in Chinese culture that the longer the dragon, the luckier it is. They are normally constructed with multiple joints held up by many dancers who twist and prance their way down a street, using various acrobatics in order to animate the dragon's movements. The lion dance, or 狮子舞, is another one of the most distinctive Chinese cultural arts and often mistakenly referred to as the dragon dance. The lion dance is only operated by two people, and their faces are hidden inside the lion as the head and the tail. Its movements can be found in most Chinese martial arts and is usually performed as a ceremony to scare away evil spirits and to summon luck and fortune. The long sleeves dance blends characteristics of both opera and dance, paying attention to body rhyme, swing posture, and special technique charm. In Chinese, it's called 水袖舞, which is literally translated as water sleeves dance, since the sleeves move like water. The ribbon dance, or 彩带舞, is a traditional art form that originated in ancient China using sharp, rhythmic movements and long, colorful ribbons to form captivating patterns and designs. In Chinese, it can also be referred to as a 敦煌舞, which specifically refers to the dance that came from Dunhuang, an ancient city in China. The city was famous for being the Chinese gateway to the Silk Road, hence why silk-like ribbons were used in dance. The Peacock Dance, or 孔雀舞, was most practiced by the Dai people, where over 1,000 years ago people learned to dance by imitating the graceful posture of peacocks. The movements of the dance are graceful, flexible, light, and agile. The The fan dance, or 扇子舞, refers to the dance with the fan as the main prop and is one of the traditional styles of Chinese folk dance. As an extension of the hand, the fans are used to accentuate a dancer's movements and symbolize grace and beauty. The sword dance, or 剑舞, was initially developed as a training exercise for soldiers before later turning into an acrobatic dance. It is one of the classical dances employed in traditional Chinese opera, as well as a dance often performed in Tai Chi. For my creative and visual aspect today, I've prepared a number of old videos of me dancing a variety of Chinese traditional dances, as well as a short audio I recorded singing a traditional Chinese song. I decided to sing a small portion of a rather old but famous traditional Chinese folk song with a tune that has been popular for more than 300 years, called 茉莉花, or jasmine flower.
好一朵美丽的茉莉花，好一朵美丽的茉莉花，芬芳美丽满枝桠，又香又白人人夸，让我来将你摘下，送给别人家。茉莉花呀，茉莉花。
For the second part of my creative visual aspect, I decided to put together and share some of my past dance videos to showcase various dance styles that I have learned.
Please enjoy a rainy day in a Jiangnan village.
Now for my conclusion on this topic. Chinese traditional dance certainly has a place of importance within the Chinese culture as its roots and practices are being passed down continuously from generation to generation, keeping the history alive. It continues to be performed in all sorts of special occasions in China, and even globally through productions like Shenyun. While there exist Chinese dance academies in the States, such as the one I attended, China has much more serious full-time institutions such as the Beijing Dance Academy that focus on developing professional dancers, choreographers, and dance researchers. The training is rigorous and very intensive, but in the end, produce incredible trained dancers. Widely practiced in China modern day by people of all ages is something called Guangchang, which is the public square dance. This dance is used as a basic form of casual and communal exercise where often large groups of people gather, usually older ladies, and congregate in public squares while dancing together in block formations. It largely developed in the 90s amongst retired women who suddenly found themselves with a lot of extra time. The social and exercise aspect and low cost to participate have caused the activity to surge in popularity since then across a range of ages and genders. Again, here are the 5 new key vocabularies I shared today, along with the 7 different Chinese traditional dance names. 谢谢, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.